difficulty, so Jeff's coming back on. Jeff's a good man.
Okay, great. So let me share this way. All right. We may or may not have time to just show you all this stuff. All right, so here we go. If I could just give you a quick ditty on the foundations that really I believe will either make or break whatever you decide to do for marketing. So I'll show you the stuff that I work with my clients. 4-stage business breakthrough blueprint. Then I'll show you, and some of you may or may not be familiar with this stuff. So you'll have to, raise your hand or unmute yourself if you have a question. So I'll show you a 5-part client attraction framework to help you generate leads, and then hopefully we'll have time to hit the 7 core ingredients. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Great. All right. So this is basically it for business breakthrough blueprint. So if you're thinking about maybe, hey, how can we get our marketing to work better? Because marketing is all it is you have a message and you have an offer, you have a solution, and you've got an audience that you can help. And I believe that everyone has your special anointing and gifting, your calling, right? That there's someone out there, there's people out there who really need what it is that you have to offer. And marketing is really just the bridge that helps you be able to get your message in front of the right people so that you can free them from whatever challenge it is that you're the expert at walking them through. So keeping that in mind, though, sounds simple, but it can be a challenge for a lot of people because everybody I work with, they're experts at what they do. They're just not really experts at marketing what they do. So that's why I want to just kind of show you how to work that out. Says, can everyone please mute? Okay, just wanted to see if there was anything for me. All right, so first stage is preparation. Second stage is you want to lay the marketing foundations, which I'm going to show you today. I'm going to try to talk a little fast because I've got a lot of content I thought I would share. Hopefully we can get through. So stage 3 is then there's various playbooks, as I call it, and it's really the strategy. There's many different marketing strategies. So stage 3 would be, okay, take a strategy and just go implement it. Now that you have the foundations, and then after you implement strategies for at least 90 days, then you want to take a look at how that worked and then be able to optimize it, finding where the improvements could be made. All right, so when I help business owners implement this, I usually just give our clients an Excel spreadsheet of this version so they can just follow along, a checklist of, all right, did I do all these steps in the preparation phase? Did I do all the steps in the marketing phase? So I just want to help simplify and show you these visuals so that you can see it can be kind of like a paint by numbers system. So this is just a super quick, 360 view of what that 4-stage business breakthrough blueprint looks like, what the stages are. And of course, each stage, there's a whole bunch of line items. Now, part of the stage is what I term it a 5-part client attraction framework. And this is what really takes a lot of the heavy lifting away from having to manually do so much stuff in marketing. If you have a framework in place and it's automated, because we live in a digital world today, this is within reach for everybody, to automate your lead generation. And so what this framework starts with is, first of all, having a clear brand promise of what it is that your business or your ministry, what that brand promise looks like. So then you've got brand awareness strategy. You've got to let the people you're trying to reach know who you are and what you do. And so with Julia's earlier question about podcasting, that's just one way to get your message across. And I'll weave that in at some point, right? And Elaine's message or a question on marketing to clergy women, trying to find your audience. you're going to be able to use these different types of brand awareness strategies to get in front of them, right? So now that's that compartment. Now, once you do, I don't know how many of you are familiar with lead magnets. If you want to acquire a lead, right? Lead acquisition. And a lead acquisition, the easiest way to acquire a lead is be able to get their name and their email address so you can communicate and they're on your list. So they want to opt in. You don't want to buy a list and then just blanket, email blast everybody, because that doesn't work with ICANN spam laws. So then you want to have some kind of a free offer, like a checklist, a download, something like, so for your clergy women that you're trying to reach, Elaine, I don't know if you've got any kind of a free download that would appeal to just somebody who would be a clergy woman, right? And that's one way that you can kind of call them out and get their attention when you're using different brand awareness strategies. So you offer that. Do you have that yet? I saw you nodding your head. So you do have a way of having people download that. Great. So you may have one LGM lead magnet, lead generation magnet. You might have two. You might have several, but at least get one. And then the automation happens with the email follow-up series that takes them from, hey, thanks for downloading this free thing, and then to build that relationship with a series of emails that's just loaded and it goes out on autopilot to help them go from a lead to acquiring a customer, right? EPO stands for entry point offer. So if you, ideally it'd be better, it's easier to convert more leads into a paying customer if you have something like an easy offer, a simple yes, a low ticket offer. And then you can move them up to a high ticket offer. So just want to explain, this is the framework that's inside the four, it's baked into the 4-part business breakthrough blueprint. And so much of this, as you notice, is online because it's really important to be able to have that the resources on your website, because frankly, this is how everyone shops today, right? They are 97% of consumers are researching online before they ever reach out to you. And so it's important as part of the foundations to have a strong blog content library on your website, because that's a big part of how people are going to discover you, how the right people are going to discover you. And then of course, if we've got videos, that's a huge plus, because that's the number 2 way people discover solutions that they want. So this is broken down. This is just another snapshot that's inside like the Excel version that I wanted to just share with you, because I just want to give you a visual of, what it looks like step by step on how this is the checklist, so to speak, of how to create your 5-part framework, right? So we talked about this visually, but then how do you implement it? This would be the line item checklist. So you want to one by one start creating this, and then you publish it, and then of course you go to work at promoting. When you're in the green promote, you're up here, which is the brand awareness. Okay. So I wanted to show you how this, once you create one campaign, one funnel, it's like on autopilot, right? Because then you can keep all of the blog content or the podcast interviews that you're doing, any networking events that you're going to, whatever you're posting on social media, the call to action you always want to share when it's relevant, the content you're talking about, would be sending them to the lead magnet, right? So that's how this framework works. So these are just really about the foundations and making sure you have these foundations in place. So I would say, as far as, critical marketing ingredients, there's 14 that we generally want, right, for the foundations piece, but I would say 7 of them are really critical. Question, Bill?
Yeah, I was just going to pause here because you're doing great with the content, but you're getting ready to move to another section. Is there anything somebody'd like to address right here, like on the 5 steps that she's outlined? because I'll just say this, what Yoon is doing here it is overwhelming when you first look at it. You've probably done a lot of this practically, but I would just encourage you, just absorb what you can today. This is where the PDF is sent to you in an email, and you can kind of review it again. But feel free to enter. Is it okay, Yoon, if people do ask you questions in the middle of this, or do you want to wait to the end?
Oh, absolutely. I see
Okay.
Gina has her hand up, and I'm trying to see why I can't unmute her.
Okay. Hello, hello.
Yes.
Yes, can you just define what you mean by when you say lead magnet? What does that mean?
Yes, yes. So it's a free download, right? So you want to have some kind of a free offer. I'll give you an example of one of mine, and I don't want to. I have a bunch, but I don't want to overwhelm you with that. I gotta move all this. So free templates, okay. So you want to use your lead magnets to identify and segment who you're trying to reach, right? So you've got something for clergy women if this is Elaine. So somebody who downloads the remodeling contractor marketing planner is not going to be Elaine because that's not your business. So I can segment by that, right? Somebody is interested in advertising, they're going to download the advertising guidebook. So anyway, when they click on something that's free, they're telling me what they're interested in. So if somebody's going to download this high performing teams checklist, well, obviously they have a team, and that's one of my pre-qualifiers, right? That this is potentially a good prospect because their business is farther along where they have a team. So they have to put in their name and their email address in order to download this. And then when they do, they're immediately going to get an email that with this download. You're going to immediately get notifications to your phone and your email. Hey, Bob Smith just downloaded this checklist. So now you've got a lead. And now you can either allow the automation, the stuff that you've put on autopilot, the email automations that you write one time. You can let that just do its work. You can also have the additional option to just send them a manual email, but someone's interested and oh, okay. Elaine just sees that she's got the clergy woman's guide to handling XYZ challenge. All right. So I think we're pretty safe to say they have to be a clergy woman if they wanted to download that. So then Julia can continue the conversation manually, or she can just, again, like I said, let the automations take them through a series of conversations. But does that help, Jada? Okay, great.
Can I make one comment there? Just an example of that my son actually did was really powerful. What you would it's kind of the thought process of taste and see what is good. And so you're offering people free things to see if you taste good. And what my son did, he wanted to start a coffee venue. And so he would offer free coffee. And of course, coffee smells so good. It's kind of like fresh bread. And so he did it at a conference and just offered a free coffee. And he had his name on the coffee cup. And then he had down there, you can have free coffee if you'll give me your email address. So it's an exchange. And so I just loved it because it was coffee is just almost an irresistible thing, but that's that idea of giving something away to get something from them just to see if it tastes good. Does that make sense?
Just to give you a different example, one of my clients, this is just his staging site. We're redoing his website, and this is a lead magnet. So he's a recruiting firm, and they're trying to reach companies, to hire a recruiting firm. So find your ideal employees. Get your free cheat sheet. It's a behavioral interview questions cheat sheet. So those companies, when they enter their name and email, you got to think about your lead magnet strategically. So this already tells the guy I'm working with, it already tells him, well, obviously they are hiring, right? They're doing interviews now if they need a behavioral interview questions cheat sheet. So they're clearly doing interviews now. They would be they would probably be in the market to, want to outsource that and not have to do all that themselves. So it's just another example of a lead magnet. That's where this comes in. Name and email. You can't get it unless you put your name and email in it. So hopefully that helps. Okay.
That's awesome.
So that's really when you have an effective lead magnet that people want. You don't want to have a lead magnet. The biggest mistakes I see with lead magnets, by the way, people put together like something that should be a blog, and it's very text heavy. It's very how to, 6 tips. No, that's not a lead magnet, because it's stuff they can find on that's for free. They don't have to enter their name and email. So you want to stay away from creating something for your business that kind of reads like a blog, right? So anything that saves them time, a checklist, a cheat sheet, a guide, fill in the blank, something to save them time that consolidates everything. So anyway, I wanted to show you when you're thinking about doing your marketing. So before you go out on that podcast interview, Julia, to promote your event, you want to be very clear, because why I highlighted these 7 is that when these things are missing or they're weak, it affects your conversion, so because when somebody listens to you, they heard about you, or they heard your interview on a podcast, and at the end you say, okay, so just go to my website, www. So they go there, and the brand messaging is really confusing. It's not clear who the customer avatar is. They don't see any customer testimonials. It just makes it less effective, is all I'm saying. Okay. So that's why we really want to have the foundations anchored down pretty well. And that makes, because everybody, what they're tempted to do, they're tempted to just start here. They want to just fire off on brand awareness. Let me just post something on social media. Let me just, start going to networking meetings. Let me just speak at a podcast, on somebody else's podcast show. So when you just fire off and do that, it tends, if the other things, the foundations aren't anchored down, you just get exhausted, because you feel like, wow, I put so much time and effort into, posting on social media and doing all this and that. And you get frustrated with, why am I not getting leads? Why am I not getting new clients? And that's a big reason why, because 70 to 90% of customers, which I was showing you earlier, are researching a company before. All right, so let me see if I missed something. Somebody had something in the chat. Where did that
That's so
go?
funny.
Can you let me know, Bill?
What's that?
Somebody has a chat, and I don't know why. I'm not seeing it.
Yoon, I wanted to know where I can find podcasts to approach. So for all of us, how do we find those podcasts that are our target area?
There's a couple ways. Okay. One would be, there are podcast membership groups that you can search on Facebook. So there's a bunch, right? And you just join. But you're going to get a pretty wide group, because if your message is so niched to clergy women, then you're going to want to go to, similar sites. So I would recommend doing that, but there's nothing like doing your own homework. Go on the podcast on your Apple player, and then search different keywords that would relate to some shows that clergy women would watch. And I would make a list on Excel, grab the link of the podcast show, their contact information, and then start, emailing. There's another site. Wait, are they podcasts? Let me think. Podcast shows. Be a guest. Google, it'll come to me. When it comes to me, if you type in your email or send it to Bill, I will send it to you. But there is a website where you can pay a membership fee, and there's a ton of members where you can be a guest or find a guest for podcast show experts. And again, it's going to be a very wide marketplace there of topics. So you have to really noodle around to get tight on the clergy women audience. Okay. So it may just be quicker believe it or not, to just do your own search, and I would subscribe to them all, and put them all on because you're so tightly related. Now, somebody might have written a blog post on, here's all the podcasts you need to listen to for clergy women. So lots of times, you can just Google it and find a blog that somebody wrote, and then they do a roundup. So the keyword would be roundup. Hopefully, if they know digital marketing, they would use that word in their title. So roundup of best podcasts to listen to for clergy women. So does that help, Julia? Okay, great. So I know I only have 4 minutes left. So let me show you real quick. The other foundation that is going to serve you so well, is SEO, and taking the time to either do the keyword research yourself or outsourcing that to identify your top keywords that are bringing traffic for your competitors. Because I just want to show you the difference here. A lot of times, like I'll work with a client who has had their website 15, 20 years, and then we do a check like this person. They've been paying every month for their website, but they actually don't get very much traffic, like 0. And we can see the traffic value is 0. And a lot of times they say, oh, well, nobody in my industry, nobody does SEO. Well, I typically find that to not be true, because this guy was a painting company and he didn't think other painting companies would do SEO. Well, we can always find them. Here's examples. This is the power of why I really want to encourage you to take the time to do SEO, or at least to do keywords, because it's like building equity into your business or your ministry. It builds over time. It's organic. And if you don't want to be this guy who's been paying every month for his website, and 15 years later, he's not getting any free traffic. This guy is in his competitive space. They're getting close to 30,000 visitors to their website, and it's converting at the tune of $67,000 on average, each month, which is pretty exciting. They're not the only ones. There's another guy in his competitive space of, supposedly painting companies don't do SEO. Well, these guys are converting $73,000 from their organic, meaning free traffic. So I can give you lots of examples of different sectors and niches, but this is really to hopefully just to illustrate, to encourage you to prioritize, getting your everybody has a website. You might as well let it work for you, for people to discover your website on their own, because you use your organic keywords strategically, and organic, again, meaning free. So I was a super quick. I know I only had 30 minutes. I could go on and on literally for 10 hours. I just wanted to give you this cursory view. And I'd love if there's any Q&A here, or let me know what your biggest takeaway was from that super fast summary. And we have someone who posted something in chat. Let's see. I will pause share so I can see this chat. Somebody posted something, and I see a 1, and I scroll up and down, and I don't see.
Yeah, I don't see it either.
Must have been Jada. Thank you. Jada just said thank you. So, thank you. All right. Any questions?
Jada just asked another question. It says, can you go back to the first slide with the different ways to market?
Yes. Different ways. This was slide 5. And these are the typical, right? Throwing in an ad, search, which is the keywords, SEO that I was talking about, social media, speaking, videos, audios. Yes. Outbound marketing, so if you're on LinkedIn, depending on your audience, if you're trying to reach a B2B market, we've got lots of outbound marketing campaigns. It's like a playbook. It's a series of messages that you fire off to the right audience. That's outbound marketing. And that's a great way to get them on your email list, so that now you have their email to communicate on a regular basis. So these are the most popular ways to create brand awareness. So, and it's hard for me to tell, coming in, I don't really know how much of this you already know, or so maybe I'm going too slow, or I don't know how much of this is completely new that that you might be a little bit overwhelmed.
You want to ask that question? Why don't we do a scale? If I had the poll up, I could do it, but maybe on a scale of 1 to 10, how, if 10 is like you're an expert in knowing all this, and 1 is not, we won't judge you for this, but just might give a little reference point for us. If you was, and I'll put mine in there too. Where's the chat?
While you're doing that, I appreciate, Michelle, your feedback. So when we said greatest takeaways or Q&A, so Michelle says, I liked what you initially said. You have a message, you have a solution, you have an audience. Marketing is the bridge, and it is. So good, from somebody on the very outside. This can apply to me. Awesome. Is there like a group unmute? I don't know if everybody can unmute themselves, right? I don't know if you have if you're over Bill?
Yeah, you're still in control of that. So yeah, you should be able to unmute everybody, I think, on your side.
Oh, okay. I thought we were
Yeah, like I said, I think I had to do that before I even started the meeting. And so the only choice I had was just to put you as host.
Oh, gotcha. All right. So, well, Michelle and Julia, you were able to unmute yourself. So good.
I just unmuted myself.
Yeah, they can unmute themselves, but but I don't know if you can do it all at once for them, just like that.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's take what have we got here? We've got about, let's take 10 minutes and let's just, run through any questions you got, any thoughts. Kali Walker, welcome. We're at the back end of our discussion here, but we're talking about marketing. So you can just jump in if you got a question for Yoon. And
so how do you, like, is that I'm just curious if is that a challenge for anybody, or like you're all comfortable with marketing?
Well, in the chat, I don't know if you can see the chat, Yoon, maybe half the people responded. You have a few 3s and 4s, but most of them are kind of in the 6, 7, and 8 category, which is, so they must have been pretty aware of your material. So that's good.
Okay, hello, I have a question.
Yes.
So thank you very much for your presentation. So at this point though, when do you think a person needs to make them a decision, maybe to have someone else come on and really do this for them? We are just launched a television network. And so I have been slowly rolling things out on our own. And I think I know at some point we'll have to bring someone on. So for instance, we've been running ads on Pinterest, Facebook, and we have been getting good feedback. And today, one of the people said to me, and you kind of brought it up, that we got a lot of likes. And with that audience, apparently when you run the ads, you now know who they are and you can respond to them even further. But what would be our response to them? Because clearly they've clicked through to the website, they've gone on to the network to download the app. What would you suggest maybe a follow-up would be with them now that we have their attention to just do even a further follow through? I don't know what that would be.
Okay. Sure. So I hear a couple questions, and this is Jada, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay. So I hear a couple questions. The first one is, how do you know when it is the time to outsource it or let somebody else do it? I guess the time to outsource, and I'm speaking from both sides of the fence, because when we help people, Jada, we help people in actually all 3 buckets. So we help guide them on the strategy. We also offer a training where we train their in-house people, and then we offer the dumping stuff too. So it really doesn't matter. It's about you. It's really your decision on. Some business owners want to have them be more nimble and have people in-house where you can just slowly up-level their marketing skills. But really, it comes to a point where, as the owner, you don't want to be the technician. You don't want to be the soldier.
Right.
you cast your vision at a bigger level. You
Right.
get involved in strategy because you don't want to be the person to actually put up the social media posts up there, or learning how to do ads. So, and then the other factor of how do you know when to outsource? Um, when you're frustrated at the speed of which you're hitting your goals. Uh,
Right.
so, I would suggest start small if there's any fear of, okay, maybe I can't afford to hire big. So I would say start small, just outsource something for 5-10 hours a week and at least get 10 hours back on your calendar. Now, the other question I'm hearing about the ads, so I'm hearing something about likes. If you don't have a lot of ad budget to burn, I'm a bigger fan of spend the ad cost to run a video ad to get people excited about the free download. Because once you do the free download, now you've got their email address. So it's even better than it's great that you're acquiring this list from your ad campaigns of people who liked, but what's better is that you've got their email address right away. So I wouldn't try to go so if I'm showing you back where we are on that 5-part funnel, a lot of people spend way too much ad budget money trying to make an ad to your EPO, your entry point offer, or even like monetization, or maybe it's an ad just to get people to like. I just find it more efficient to do the ad, focus that ad again to whatever it is that is inside that lead magnet, right? So when they download this, so if you're this guy, you're doing a video ad to talk about why it's so important to have behavioral interview questions. And so once they download the lead magnet, then you can back it up with some kind of video, maybe like a video mini class to get them more familiar with getting them past the download and closer to acquiring them as a customer.
Okay. I think you actually gave me an idea, because the ads are videos.
Okay.
They're 30 seconds to maybe a minute long, and they are to get traffic to drive them to our actual network. But you just gave me an idea of a download for individually something. So I get it. So thank you very much.
You're welcome. Good. Because that is where commonly I'd say people are spending, they're kind of wasting not wasting ad budget, but you've got more to burn. If you're sending ad traffic just to a website in general, yeah, people go to the website and then what? You want to send them to a landing page that doesn't have any other option. You notice this landing page here? It has no navigation bar. So I'm not sending them to this like a general website, because on the general website, they get distracted. You want to send them to what is the one action you want them to do. And there's nothing else here for them except, do you want this or not? That's it. So your ad budget, and that actually is going to inform what you're going to talk about in the video. So don't diffuse your video message to going in too many directions of this is what we do and this is who we help and we have this great program, and mentioning all that, it's just too much. Spend that entire video talking about why they're going to benefit from this, and which also then forces you to really make sure that you've got a great lead magnet. So you got to balance. Your lead magnet has to be really great where they're going to want it, and when they get it, they're so excited. But you don't want to go overboard where I have a client in Canada. She had her same lead magnet for 10 years, and she couldn't understand why it wasn't converting. When I looked at it, I said, good grief, Ken, it's 100 pages. They're not going to consume this for another 6 months. No. So she went overboard that way. And then the other common factor, like I mentioned earlier, going the opposite direction is, wow, this was not a great lead magnet. This didn't help me as a user because it reads like a blog. So now I'm not excited about taking the next step or even opening emails from this person because Well, I spent all that just for a blog. I could have gotten that, on a Google search. So just to be, balanced. Any other questions, comments? I know, Ellis, you said you use a 90-day playbook also, and you have a spreadsheet to track. That's awesome. How's it working? Is it converting? Are you excited about, are you happy with the conversion? I don't know if Alice is still here. Well, one last call. Any other comments, questions to help you apply?
I'll make a comment. This is Chris.
Yes.
Just to say that I know a whole bunch of business coaches, and one of the things that I love about all of you is that you're so passionate about helping typically the small business owner that hiring you is always well worth the investment. So if anybody is listening and is considering it, just if you have the money and even if you can figure out, just do it, because they are well worth the investment.
That was very nice, Chris. I appreciate that. And at the same time, also wanted to share from the bottom of my heart, my intention today is really just to be able to try to give you something that could help you in your business from the content today. So, anyway, but thank you for sharing that. Any other questions, comments?
I just wanted to say thank you, because even just your restatement of the lead magnet where you said the clergywoman's guide to blank, and I thought, oh, I should use that.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Whatever is the number one challenge that you hear all the time that they're stuck at. So if you've got a guide to that, then obviously they're not going to download it if they don't have that challenge. So, and if you hear 3 challenges that you tackle, like for me, I do, and my people I work with, they have a marketing challenge, they have a hiring challenge, hiring the right people. So that's why I have the creating high performing teams, as well as marketing lead magnets. So for you and your business, if you've got 2, 3, 4 top biggest challenges, that's what you want to gear your lead magnets toward. All right, so hopefully you're able to come away with this high level view of what this looks like, and I'll pass the baton back to Bill if nobody else has questions or comments.
Yeah, and if you'll throw the host back to me too, that'd be great.
Okay.
That'd be awesome. Thank you again, Yoon. Let's all give a little hand clap here.
Thanks,
Can you do that on do that on Zoomology here? Did it come back to me?
Yep.
Also, we do have a little bit of a buzzing noise, and let's see if I can do this. Could everybody mute themselves just for a second? Let's see if it's on my end. Okay. That's weird. That's funny that I'm still here. It went away. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay,
Go
cool.
Mhm.
Awesome. Very interesting. Not sure where that was. Anyway, thanks everyone for coming. There are a few of them that have kind of popped on. Philip Saxton, if you'll send me or your email in the chat, I'll send you Yoon's PDF, and I'll send that to you in an email. I'll send it to some of the others. And somebody else popped on too, I think. Let's see. Deb, I don't think I sent it to you, so I'll send it to you, Deb, as well.
Thank you.
So here's where we are. Before we move any further, let me ask anything else around this topic, and I'll just say this, that what Yoon just said about freely we've been given and freely we give in the Christian mandate. It's hard sometimes in business to know when to offer something for free, when do you give it away and just let other people enjoy the knowledge you have, and when do you charge for that. and just know that many of us, and like Chris was saying, that there's many of us, particularly in the entrepreneurial area, even in ministry, where it's a difficult challenge sometimes to know when to charge for things, how much to charge for things, and when to give it away. And just know that if you're working through that yourself, everybody does. And just, getting wise counsel is really helpful. One of the foundations of the council table is that we want you to come with equal voice to the table. And as y'all are sharing, we're all helping to edify each other, and hopefully we're magnifying that back to God by becoming better in ourselves. What I do at the end of these is that I typically connect you, whoever was on today, through an email. And if y'all want to get together and do business together, just create friendships, that's the heart of this, is that people that are like-minded often tend to do business better together, because I think relationship is what often drives business. If not, I really believe it drives business at least 95%. You might just get something off of Amazon. You don't think it's relational driven, but there's a reason why you're probably encountering them probably from a relational standpoint. So that being said, just enjoy what Yoon gave you today. But if you want to engage with Yoon, I will put an email together today that allow you to do that. That's our heart for doing that. And here comes Mr. Ike. He's always, how did it do? Oh, it's so funny. Now I got it. My phone is now the host. I don't know how that happened. I was expecting it to come back to my computer instead of the phone. So anyway, that's why I looked a little bit funny. Okay, are we good? Everywhere? Any questions? It is kind of funny when everybody's on mute. I can't hear your voice. So we good? So where we're going to move to now, if you came today and all you wanted to hear was marketing, great. If you want to hear from God, maybe we were expecting to hear from, God was speaking through you. But if you want prayer today, we want to offer that to you. And some of you have to jump off sooner than later. We typically set the meeting up to go to 2:30. This is the part of the council table where we put God in the center of it. Jesus is the centerpiece, and we want to spend time in prayer. So if you'd like prayer today, and we call it prophetic prayer, meaning we're trying to hear from God and speak it to you. And if you want that, we want to do that. It usually, each person might get about 5 minutes of prayer, and you don't have to have done this before. What I just asked you to do is just say, God, have you got anything for this person? You might, well, you came the first time last time. How did you experience that? Come off mute and tell us your experience.
Well, I loved it. And I got the impression that maybe the rest of you are used to this, this method of praying for one another without ever hearing the other person speak. I have to say, it was a first time experience for me. Even though I've been through a number of different denominations, I don't know, I just never had that experience before. So it really blessed me, because it just opened my mind to saying, yeah, why was I limiting God before? The thought never occurred to me that of course God can give one another as brothers and sisters in Christ the ability to have a word for them. And it was just very cool. I came away blessed.
Amen.
Awesome.
So feel free, if you want prayer like that today. We were on a conversation yesterday. I think you and I were on with another person, and he was sharing how that he'd been working with a particular business relationship, and then he said God just dropped something in his mind for that person that even in the context of the business, he didn't know exactly that was for him. And as they prayed, it was a very enlightening aspect, and that's why, again, I tend to challenge and am a little bit edgy in this. I really believe, we have the greatest marketing guy ever, meaning God, in this. He said, if I just lift Jesus up, he will draw all men to him. And so what a great marketing. So I'm the magnet at that point. I'm the freely given away person that he's saying, hey, Bill, go out there and give yourself away, and you're going to draw everybody to me if you just lift Jesus up. So I believe in your business and in your ministry, as you continue to just ask God, how can I bless that other person? And we'll get into that more later, but just know that's the context for this, and don't feel like you have to participate, but I think you'll have fun if you do. So who wants to go first and who needs to leave first? That's usually the first person that goes is going to be the person who has to leave first. So,
Hey, Bill.
anybody? Yes, go Ike.
I'm usually overflowing and saturated with God's word. I actually came for the main event for Yoon's dissertation on marketing. So would it be possible in the follow-up email that you sent to make sure we get a recording for those of us who weren't blessed by her wisdom from earlier?
Yes, absolutely. And Yoon, since you were host, I don't know, when you transferred it back to me, I don't know if you stored the recording on your.
It's still being recorded.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's still being recorded.
Okay. Oh, is it? Okay. Let me stop.